Hello, welcome to Night's Arcade. I'm Sleepless Night, and I'm actually supposed to be on my holiday. I'm supposed to be taking a week off from the channel because I haven't taken one in a very, very, very long time. But actually, I'm just basically going to be taking a week off from the stream, really. So I'm not going to be streaming for a week. As regards to the channel, you might miss a video, maybe two, but otherwise, you'll still get a couple of things this week. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about a recently announced Space Crew update because I recently made a review of the game. Curve Digital sent me a pre-launch review code, so I checked that out and I made a review of it. If you haven't seen that, there'll be a link to it in the description, or I'll just put a card on the end of the video or whatever it is. But I have had, if you've checked out my streams of Space Crew, you'll know that I've had quite a bit of difficulty with it. And it turns out, from looking online, I'm actually not the only one. I've seen quite a few things on Twitter, one or two things in other reviews and discussions of the game, and a couple of other places talking about how the game is a lot tougher than Bomber Crew was, and I agree. Bomber Crew, it had its moments, but I liked the difficulty level of Bomber Crew because it was tough in areas and you had to repeat odd missions, but you had to repeat the odd mission now and again because it was so tough, but generally speaking, you could make relatively steady progress. And I thought the difficulty level there worked quite well. I find that Space Crew's difficulty is tweaked just ever so slightly on the too hard setting. That's not to say it's impossible, certainly not. I've spoken to several people who've said that the game, that they find they're not having any troubles with the game at all, and they've completed 30, 40 missions, and they've not lost a crew member, or, these kind of things. And that's wonderful, but it punishes you quite hard for making tiny mistakes. So you'll make the odd mistake, and it only takes a split second of making a mistake, and you'll end up losing your crew. And it's like, it's like a domino effect. It's a chain reaction in this game, as it quite often was in Bomber Crew, and as it should be in this kind of crew management sim. That's the point of the game, but I do think they could do with tweaking the difficulty just slightly, and I do mean slightly, but it seems that they have heard the many of us that are talking about this. We love the game and we want to keep playing it, and we're going to keep playing it, but they've listened to what people have had to say, and they are on their way with an update, which I honestly thought that the difficulty level could do with the tiniest bit of tweaking, but it looks like they've actually done quite a lot of revamping. So they announced yesterday. You'll know about this, by the way, if you follow the Steam community of Space Crew, or if you follow Curve Digital or Runner Duck or the Space Crew accounts on Twitter, you might have seen this. This is how I found out about it. They announced this, I think it was yesterday, maybe day before, October 21st. Anyway, whatever, that's 2 days ago, I guess, by the time you get this. So what the message they've sent says, we've been reading all the great feedback you've taken the time to send our way. John, Joe, and myself have been working hard to get the first update out to you. Here's an overview of what's included in our first batch of changes to Space Crew. And it appears that the changes they're making here that they're talking about are almost all around difficulty. So they first of all say, we've made a range of adjustments that should help alleviate some of the more frustrating situations during missions, such as improving the chance of gunners landing their shots on enemies, shield recharging being less hampered by taking hits, and many other adjustments. It doesn't go into detail what many other adjustments means, but honestly, just improving the gunners' chance of landing their shots on enemies slightly, I think this game is so finely balanced, I think that would make all the difference. But the shield recharging will certainly help as well. I can't wait to see what the other little adjustments they're making are. But there are a couple of things they go into more detail on. So firstly, they've added a range of new difficulty options so that you can find a balance that suits the challenge you're looking for. That's their words. So they've added a casual difficulty setting, it says here, for those looking for a less bumpy ride, and a panic stations mode for those who are breezing through the game currently and want more of a challenge. And those people are out there. I've spoken to some of them. It just seems to be a lot more people are finding this difficult than did Bomber Crew. But, there are always going to be people whose brains work in that way that just find this game easier than the rest of us. With me, it's been a steep sort of learning curve to get the hang of. I've now started to learn what I'm doing wrong and sort of stuff like that, and I love it, but I do still think it could do with a bit of tweaking. Who's going to use the panic station setting? God only knows. I mean, you know, I salute you, but certainly not me. You'll also be able to dispense with tagging enemies if it's not your thing with the automatic tagging modes, where the game will tag enemies automatically so you can focus on managing your crew. I think there are a lot of people out there who'll be pleased about that one. I personally won't use that. They've done more than that. From the look of the image they've given, which I'll put on the screen here, they've got 3 tagging modes now. So they've got the classic mode, which is the mode we have now, and the mode we had in Bomber Crew, where you've got to, you know, use the tagging mode and highlight the enemies to, you know, until your little circle fills up and they're tagged. Then they've got the automatic mode they just talked about, where they'll always be tagged. Then there's what they're calling a semi-automatic tagging mode, in which enemy fighters will be tagged automatically when a member of the crew is at the comms station. So if there's a member of the crew away from the comms station, if they've died, or, you know, you've put them on the medibed, or they're manning a gun for some reason, or, you know, they're putting out a fire, for whatever reason it is, that they're away from the station, your enemies won't get tagged. But on semi-automatic, that's what will happen. But there is a fully automatic mode. I don't think I'll use either of those because, you know, there's got to be some difficulty left in it. I honestly think the tiny little tweaks that they talked about at the beginning were enough, but it continues. So here they said there's also an option to switch off or give yourself unlimited slow time, so you can get some more time to think in the heat of battle. So you can either switch off the slow time function, or you can give yourself unlimited slow time, so you can get more time to think. Now, that's another one of those I don't personally think is really necessary. I don't use slow time often enough, actually, but that's just oversight on my part. But there are plenty of people out there who might enjoy that. That's just a personal thing. But the final thing that they mention in detail, which I really love, this is the change that I think makes all the difference, because they haven't gone up. What they're doing is they're making increased crew size, but they haven't gone up to the full 8 crew positions. So they haven't filled out all the stations. They've just given you one more as an option. So you don't have to work with 7 crew members. You can work with the 6 that the game now has available. But you can opt, in the difficulty settings, you can opt to have an additional crew member. So you'll still have one gun station that is unmanned, and you will still have to move crew members about. And I like that. I like the fact that they haven't just given you 8, because, you know, it's crew management. So you really, really do have to, you know, if you weren't having to move people around, what would be the point, really? So, you know, I do think going to 8 would have been a huge mistake. But it looks like they're giving you the option to go to 7. So it's not there by default, but it will be an option. They also say there are many other smaller changes, which they'll provide more info on the release notes. But they don't say when this update is coming. They just say they're working hard to get the update tested and available to you as soon as they possibly can. And thank you for playing in the meantime. So there you go. I've had 1 or 2 comments on my videos saying that they think the game is too difficult, and I tend to agree. I don't think it's massively impossible. I don't think it's impossible or massively difficult to the point where I would stop playing, but I felt like it just needed tweaking the tiniest bit. And I think with the options that they've given you here, it will put that in your hands. It will give you the goal. It will give you the options to tweak the difficulty settings to your liking. And I think 1 or 2 of these are really, really great changes. There are some that I won't use, but there are 1 or 2 that I think will be helpful. And the one I will definitely use is the increased crew size. I think leaving the difficulty where it is now for me, but with 1 additional crew member, would make all the difference. I think that is the tiniest tweak that I think I was personally looking for. But, you know, let me know what you think. Tell me in the comments, or head over to Twitter and follow Runnerduck or Curve Digital, the publisher, or the Space Crew game. Let them know what you think. Head over to the Steam community and let them know what you think. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Knights_Arcade. You can find that link in the video description, along with my Facebook page, the Knights Arcade Discord server, if you want to hop on over there and join our growing, warm, lovely community. Or I do live stream here on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, with the exception of this week, because I'm having a week off for the first time in a long time. But I do usually stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. If you don't want to do any of those things, then, you know, leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed and you want to see more videos from me in the future. and ring the notification bell to be notified whenever I post new content. But until next time, from Nights Arcade, this is Sleepless Night saying nighty-night.